So one of my current projects is the restoration of a 1972 Montgomery Ward Sea King 14-foot runabout. And I haven't really done much in the way of how-to videos like I normally would on this project, because I've just been kind of enjoying working on it and not having to do all the video stuff. So what you're seeing right now is the progress we got so far. We got new color, a lot of new bright work, cleats, new stern lamp, but using the original 1972 mounting hardware with just a new LED pod on top. Original bimini rails, original speedometer, which I was able to polish up and came out real beautiful, looks fantastic. Original light switch. So anyway, this video is not about the boat, but I just wanted to show you what we're working with, because what this video is about is the outboard motor that came with this boat. And that is also an original 1972 Sea King branded 35 horsepower outboard. And we're gonna go take a look at that right now. Down here in the workshop, I've got the outboard sitting on the floor. And as you can see, it's pretty rough. This is exactly how we took it off the boat when we pulled the boat out of the weeds from behind the house that it was parked at for the last decade or so. The lower end had already been taken off the motor leg. You can see that sitting here. Again, just real rough shape. Got your decorative side plates. The cowl is covered in lichen, desperate need of refinishing. Flywheel's in pretty rough shape, but it is solid and can be cleaned up and brought back to life. I'm not worried about the flywheel. Excuse me, the flywheel. Engine itself missing a lot in terms of the ignition. So as you see, we have the original Magneto ignition assembly here. One coil, one laminate, one condenser, and looks like one point. So, you know, we got a technically complete system on one side, but the other side is completely gone. Whoever took it apart cut the wire off the coil. There's no starter bracket. Choke solenoid is floating around here somewhere. Yep, there it is right there. So this is going to be a lot of work. There's no water pump in the lower leg, I discovered. So had to go for a couple of weeks on a basically a wild goose chase for parts. And thanks to eBay, really, I was able to find everything that I need. So found a nice starter with brackets, and the seller, I just want to point this out because this is fantastic. The seller had actually taken time to disassemble, grease, and reassemble the jack shaft. And that was unexpected when I bought it, and that was a nice little touch from that seller. So props to them. Anyway, new pair of condensers. We're going to replace the one that's existing already on the boat, or excuse me, already on the motor. And then obviously we need another one for the side that is missing. Brand new coil, new old stock, brand new laminate, also new old stock. Got a pair of breaker points here. This is the clip that you use to put the coil onto the laminate. Okay. New inlet pipe, water inlet pipe for the lower end. New water pump with its backing plate, impeller, new exhaust and grommet, and finally this is the cone nut that goes on the prop. So with this pile of parts and a little bit of cleaning and some paint and some love and care, we're going to get this boat back in the water, hopefully by next spring. So here we go. So I was assembling this off camera and I realized I probably should have done it on camera. This is one of those things that I know would be helpful for y'all to see. So apologies, but I'm not going to take it back apart again to show. So your clip, when you're putting your coil onto your laminate, slide your clip in first into the coil, okay? And then hook it around the bottom like this so that your tail is just hanging out. And then just slide your laminate into the coil. You'll probably, to get it started, because this is a pretty strong, pretty well tensioned clip, you'll probably want to put your coil face down on a hard surface, and then again with this right in place like that, put your coil down on a hard surface and just apply pressure to the back of your laminate to slide it in. And then once you get it started, you should be able to wiggle it in. It's going to be a tight fit, but that's the purpose. The clip needs to be good and snug so that your coil has no risk of popping off the laminate during operation, because that would just spell disaster inside that fast rotating Magneto. I decided that I wasn't going to do a complete how-to video showing every step of this process. Frankly, I just have way too much work ahead of me to spend the time trying to document each and every little step and then have to edit the video down to something that's manageable for you guys to watch. So I'm just going to kind of take this in chunks. Where we're at right now versus when I first started is we have the new condenser right here installed on the coil that's going to remain, excuse me, not installed, but placed. I still have to screw it down onto the coil right here. Get that to focus, there we go. So that'll screw in right there. We have the new breaker point installed and wired up. And for the wiring, you have your condenser lead, you have your coil lead, and then you have your wiring harness lead, which comes down through the stator plate and out to your wiring harness. On the other side, I've put the other new breaker point together with the appropriate terminals. And again, I just have to get that fastened to the coil laminate, and then I have to get the laminate installed. So I had to take a break and run down to the hardware store because I realized that I didn't have any fasteners in this stator plate, and none of the ones that I have here in the workshop were the right size. There's a lot of slot head. Let me see if I can find one of the originals. I'll show you. So, you know, it's a 50-year-old motor, so there's a lot of slot head, coarse thread SAE bolts and screws on this motor. Most of what we deal with these days is metric, and so of course the majority of the fasteners that I have in the shop are metric. I will veer off for just a moment because I want to show you all something. I went on Amazon a couple of months ago and I picked up this 3-package set of bolts and washers and nuts. One box is all SAE, one box is all metric, and the other box is self-tapping wood and sheet metal screws. And these kits are awesome. You know, they're you know, fairly cheap fasteners. This is not high quality, expensive stuff, but in a bind when you need fasteners, these kits are awesome to have in the shop. So I'll put the link for that in the description of the video just so you all have it. But regardless, the coarse thread machine screws that I needed to finish this job were not in this kit and not in my other inventories that I have, so I had to run down and get those. So because of that, I'm going ahead and replacing a lot of the original fasteners with the new fasteners that I purchased, just so that they all kind of look the same. So there you go. Enough with that. I'll pick up the camera again when I'm done putting this all together. Okay, making some progress here. As you can see, both sets of coils, laminates, condensers, and points are now all installed. There's your new condenser. The leads all connected. Your new breaker point set right there with the new white. And a new set over here. Let me grab my pointer here, sorry. So, new set right there. Brand new condenser right here. And again, I just showed you, all new on this side. Coil on this side, and the laminate are all brand new. Laminate looks a little bit rough, but it is new old stock. It's just been sitting on somebody's shelf for the last 40 years. So that's all good to go. The one thing I don't have done yet is the adjustment of the points to the cam. I will do that at a later date. I'm not ready to do that just yet, but you do have to set your distances right here to the cam lobe, and you also need to set your wiper so that it's actually doing the job it's intended for. So I'll do that at a later date. I also now have the starter installed. The starter that I bought off eBay came with a bracket and a lower bracket, and when I was in the process of installing, I was not able to get it on at first because the lower bracket that came with the unit, this angle right here, which is the mounting plate that mounts to the block, like so, this angle was off just enough this way that I was not able to get it mounted no matter what I did. So fortunately, before I sourced the starter, I was not sure how much luck I was going to have finding a whole unit, because usually these items are sold individually. So I had already bought a brand new lower bracket, and it ended up being just slightly different physically from the one that came with the starter. So you can kind of see it right there. This is this nice brand new gold colored lower bracket, and it was the perfect angle to be able to mount the starter. So got that all done. Bolted on the back there as well. And our positive lead connected. So there we go, making progress.